Until he ran into Joe Wilfried Tsonga today, losing
53. Don't miss a minute of live NBA action. Get NBA League Pass now.
I think we have a tremendous responsibility because all of us who have benefited by the blood, sweat, and tears of our forefathers should carry on that particular torch. And Tiger does have a responsibility in regards to what he says. He waited until it was politically correct to come out, when he should have come out right away. The word lynch is a particular word. There is no redeeming part of it. And so when you say lynch, you're going to have to pay a price, because that particular legacy is a very embarrassing one, a very humiliating one in the history of the development of this country.
That earlier today on ESPN2's First Take. Now, Jim Brown's opinion is not solitary, yet it is interesting that in very short order the discussion has moved from the use of the word lynch and that stark image of a noose to how Tiger Woods has chosen to respond. All in that very familiar American theater where thoughtless and hurtful comments are made and a ritual ensues.
We call this a Brokeback Mountain game because there's so much penetration and kick out.
You know, I hate gay people. I let it be known.
Tell him not to serve fried chicken next year.
Why does this keep happening?
And when it does, there's an inevitable sequence of utterance, apology, and reaction. 3 weeks ago, another remark sparked controversy. The topic, young golf pros coping with the dominance of Tiger Woods.
Maybe they should just gang up for a while until
lynch him in the back alley.
Yeah, that's right. And then
Kelly Tillman drew a 2-week suspension, and Woods, her friend for more than a decade, first issued a statement and then spoke publicly.
She regrets saying it, so in my eyes, it's all said and done. She's a friend of mine, which she is. We all say things that we do regret, and that's certainly a moment that she certainly regrets.
Privately, though, Woods may have been more disturbed and yet restrained, aware of the power of his words.
He knew that what he said was going to have a tremendous effect on her future. And I feel at that point, he thought it was better to have a little bit of compassion than to pile on.
But the initial public reaction to the use of a loaded word led Golfweek magazine to choose the now infamous cover for its next edition.
The use of that symbol was so beyond the reality of what had occurred that it was sensationalized in a negative way on a magazine cover it's a golf trade magazine.
Yes, it's a jarring image. It brings forth bad images of things that happened in this country's history, but at the same time, we're here talking about it.
Which, according to Woods, is exactly what Tillman's remark did not require.
The cover itself just perpetuated it. It was over and handled, between us, and we had moved on from it. But unfortunately, Golfweek did what they did, and from there, created more of a firestorm.
Other aggrieved parties have spoken out when the inevitable public ritual of remark, outrage, and apology has been sparked.
That's some rough girls from Rutgers, man. They got tattoos and some hardcore hoes. That's some nappy-headed hoes there, I'm going to tell you that now.
The reaction of the women of Rutgers to Don Imus's comments underscored their grace under fire.
As a society, we're trying to grow and trying to pass that, trying to surpass that and get to a point where we don't classify women as hoes.
Remarks at a roast made by ESPN's Dana Jacobson led to her being disciplined by the network as a Catholic organization levied criticism and Notre Dame University spoke of forgiveness. Tim Hardaway's emotional reaction to John Amiche's revelation as a gay NBA player was quickly countered.
I don't like to be around gay people. I don't, I'm homophobic. I don't like it. It shouldn't be in the world for that, or in the United States for it. So yeah, I don't like it.
I've got news. I don't want tolerance. I resent the idea that I have to be tolerated.
Tolerance may have been Bernie Ecclestone's goal when he joked twice about Danica Patrick's fourth-place finish in the Indy 500.
I've got one of these wonderful ideas that women should be all dressed in white like all the other domestic appliances.
Ecclestone's comments about Patrick may have been easily parried, even ridiculed. But Tiger Woods, the target of a recent remark leading to a controversial cover, saw his response analyzed and criticized.
It is what it was. It was what it was, and that's the way he reacted to it. And I think some of the things that happened after that, tried to blow it out of proportion, but I think to pick on Tiger in this instance is off base.
With his global image, Woods hears appeals for him to speak out on issues. In his mind, he's fulfilling his responsibility.
I am socially active every day of my life, and that's with my foundation, what we're trying to do with kids. I know that there are people who want me to be champion of all causes, and I just can't do that.
So in short order, to some, the discussion has gone from what was said and portrayed about Tiger Woods to the nature of his response. Let's say good day to Edward Wanambwa of the African American Golfers Digest. Edward, why is this now the topic and not the initial comment and not the noose on the cover?
Well, I think it's a topic because the more that Tiger comes out and says that it's a non-issue, it becomes an issue. His relationship with Kelly and his decision to forgive her for what she did, and I'm in agreement with that. I've met Kelly. I've had an opportunity to be around her. She's a good person. She misspoke. She made a statement, and unfortunately, she used a very painful, disgraceful, and hurtful word in the history of America, not just for African Americans, but as the country as a whole. And on top of that, for Golf Week to use such poor judgment and discretion in coming out with a cover that has a noose on it went further to exacerbate the situation and make it worse. And I think that
are you saying Tiger didn't realize any of that?
I think he did. I think Tiger, and not to speak for him, but in my personal professional opinion, I think Tiger made a decision to stay neutral. I forgive Kelly and it's a non-issue and let's move on. But the Golf Week cover is an issue and it needs to be something that needs to be addressed.
What do you believe and what have you been hearing from your subscribers about what this has done to Tiger's image, this neutrality as you portray it?
Well, Tiger's image in the African-American community has been very interesting ever since '97 when he won at the Masters. I mean, he's doing things that we wish people like Charlie Sifford and Lee Elder and Teddy Rose could have done years and years ago. But there's also this disappointment among our readers, among our advertisers, among our constituency that wanted Tiger to say something. Not get out there and be militant or get out there and say something hurtful or anything like that, but to simply say the same thing Tim Fincham said. This was appropriate. It was insensitive. I forgive Kelly for what she did, but where do we go beyond Golf Week? For Tiger to say something more than it's a non-issue is a little bit disappointing.
What do you then believe of the quality of the advice he's getting?
That's a very interesting thing. I said today to my publisher, to Burt Cook, that I'm really curious to find out if Tiger would have had a bit of a different response if Earl was still with us. Because I think Earl came from a totally different era.
Speaking of his father.
His father, Earl, yes, might have come out and said, put a little bug in Tiger's ear that, you know what, son, you can still stay out of the fray and all this and not get caught up in the negativity, but you can say something because he is more than just an athlete. Tiger has a platform to effect change.
How has Tiger's impact and what has it been on the inclusiveness that you seem to feel golf still needs to improve? How much of a difference has he made in golf?
I think Tiger has made an influence overall throughout the game. I mean, I think more people in general, not just people of color, minorities, are getting involved. But, Tiger's involvement in the game on the course has been fantastic. But yet, as I said in a previous interview, we don't have any black women on the LPGA Tour. We really don't have any African-American golfers following Tiger on the PGA Tour. And as far as the business side of golf goes, we're still regressing. I think if we would have had an African-American person in that editorial room with Golf Week, that cover would have never come out. There's still a long way to go.
All right, Edward Wanambwa of the African-American Golfers Digest. Appreciate your time today, sir. Thank you.
Hey, Bob, thank you for having me.
All right. We're standing by for NFL Live. Now it's Osi Umenyiora who says the Patriots, or at least one specific player, is